Hello, can you hear me? Okay, okay. Now, without wasting time, you can start with it. Now, in this PDF of your second module, conduction, as I said, we'll start with the Fourier law of heat conduction. Then we'll see Newton's law of convection or cooling. Then we'll see Stephen Boltzmann law, and we'll see few terms like what is thermal resistance, what is thermal conductivity, and then we'll start with the derivation on plane wall, and we'll take one problem. So at least you will get an idea how to solve the problem on conduction for plane wall. Okay. Now we all know about the conduction. So what is definition of a heat trans? Voice is breaking. Okay. Hello. Hello. Is it okay now? Okay. Now what is heat transfer? Heat transfer is defined as the transmission of energy from one region to another as a result of temperature gradient taking place by the following three ways: by conduction, by convection, and by radiation. It means that whenever the heat transfer take place, you will get a temperature gradient is been formed. Now, what is the temperature gradient means? If I consider a plane wall, and if I consider the plane wall, and if I apply heat at one end of the plane wall, and other end will be have a low temperature. Due to this temperature difference, heat transfer will take place, and they will create a temperature gradient, that is a decrease of temperature difference. Now, it means this temperature gradient can form by conduction, by convection, and by radiation. So, if I talk about a real situation, in real situation, the heat transfer take place by the combination of all the three modes. As last time I had given you the example of a boiler, when we heat the water in a boiler, the water receives the heat from a fire bed by by radiation. It means that radiated heat from the fire to the to the shell, and then by conduction, that is conducted heat through the shell, and then by convected heat from the inner shell of wall to the water. It means that in real situation, whenever we see the heat flow, it takes place by the combination of radiation, conduction, and convection. So radiation from the fire bed to the outer surface of the shell, and from outer shell to the inner shell, that is through the boiler shell, it is conduction, and from the inner shell of the boiler to the water by convection. So by these three modes the heat transfer takes. Now we'll go to the second slide. Now we'll see what is conduction. Now conduction is the transfer of heat from one part of a substance to another part of a same substance, or from one substance to another in physical contact with it without appreciable displacement of molecules forming the substance. It means if whenever the conduction take place, if I take a long rod, the heat flows from one end of the rod to the other end of the same rod by conduction. Or if there are two bodies in physical contact with it, then the conduction will take place from one body to the other body. Now, whenever we heard a word of conduction, it means the movement of the molecules in the body will take place. So whenever we talk about conduction, molecules has to be remembered. The movement of the molecules without displacement will take place. It means there will be no displacement of the medium. So in case of solid, the solid body does not move from one place to another place. Only the molecules inside will collide with the other molecules, adjacent molecules, and will start transfer the energy from one part, that is a hot region of the body, to the colder region of the body. Now if you go in conduction, so basically conduction take place in solid, liquid, and in gases. So in solid, the conduction takes place by two following mechanism. Now these two mechanism are very basic mechanism that we have to remember throughout the conduction module. Now first mechanism is lattice vibration. It means in conduction take place in solid, liquid, and gases, and we are talking about a solid. So in solid, the heat is conducted by the following two mechanisms. First is by lattice vibration. Now, what do you mean by lattice vibration? The faster moving molecules or atoms in the hottest part of the body transfer the heat by collision to the other atoms and molecules, and in this way the heat flows from one part of the body to the other part of the same body. This is called a lattice vibration. So it means that in solid, whether we talk about metals or non-metals, so they both are solid. So in solid, the heat flows either by lattice vibration, in which if I apply the heat to one end of the body, so there will be molecules or atoms. They will have a faster moving atoms and molecules. They will start colliding with the adjacent atoms and molecules, and in this way the heat flows from one end of the body to the other end of the same body, which is called lattice vibration. Now second is B, by transport of free electrons. Now what do you mean by transport of free electrons? Especially in metals, the free electrons are available. So whenever we supply a heat at one part of a body, these free electrons, they will provide the energy flux, that is the energy will flow through these free electrons in the direction of decreasing temperature. It means always heat flows towards the decreasing temperature. Now for metals, especially good electrical conductors. Now the electronic mechanism is responsible for the major portion of the heat flux except at low temperature. It means in especially in metals, the heat flow by transport of free electrons, due to which all the metals, they can transfer the heat at a faster rate than compared with the non-metals. So I can say that metals, they are the good conductor of heat, and whereas the non-metals or insulator, they are the poor conductor of heat, or they are the good insulators. Now in this way the heat flows in solid. Now in case of gases and in case of liquid, the mechanism of heat conduction is simple. It means that when I apply the heat to the one region of the gases, what will happen? The kinetic energy of molecules is a function of temperature. It means that the molecules are in continuous random motion. They will exchange the energy and momentum to the adjacent atoms and molecules. So when a molecule from the higher temperature region collide with a molecule from the lower temperature region, during the collision it loses the energy by collision. So in this way the heat will flow by conduction in gases. Okay. Now in liquid the mechanism is same as above. Okay, is nearer to that of gases. However, the molecules are more closely spaced and intermolecular forces come into play. If we talk about liquid, it means that in liquid the heat flow will take place in a similar manner. That is molecules at a higher temperature region, they will collide with the other molecules of a low temperature region, and during the collision similarly they will transfer the energy. Only in case of liquid, the molecules, they are closely packed to each other, due to which the intermolecular forces come into a picture. Now I hope everybody is clear about the conduction, how the conduction take place in solid. That is by two mechanisms, by lattice vibration and by transport of free electrons. And again the conduction take place also in gases and in liquid. Only the thing is the conduction, the amount of heat flow by conduction in gases and liquid will be low as compared with the solid, because in solid the atoms and molecules are, they are very close to each other compared with the gases and liquid. Now, how the convection take place? We all know that the convection take place in fluid. But how? Convection is the transfer of heat within a fluid by mixing of one portion of the fluid with the another. Okay. Now, if you go into the real situation of convection, for a convection to take place, we required three things. Number one, we required a medium. So in convection, the medium is fluid. It can be a liquid, it can be a air or gases. Number two, in for a convection to take place, we required a temperature difference. So temperature gradient is been formed whenever the heat flows in by convection. So number one, we required a medium, that is fluid. Number two, we require a temperature difference. And number three is we required bulk motion of molecules. It means that unless there is no motion of the molecules, whether the movement of water molecules or air molecules or gas molecules, the convection will not take place. Now, convection is possible only in fluid medium and is directly linked with the transport of medium itself. Okay, now they say that convection take place only in fluid medium, that is either it take place in gas medium, or in liquid medium or in air medium. Now convection constitutes the microform of the heat transfer, since microscopic particles of fluid moving in space causes the heat exchange. That is the motion of the molecules present in the fluid, they causes the movement of the heat, that is from one place to the other place. Now you can take the example, if I take a hot rod and if I keep in the open atmosphere, now what will happen? Whatever the air come in contact with the hot rod, the density of the air will get decreases, they will become lighter and they will start moving upward direction. And whatever the air present in the atmosphere, that is the cold air, will occupy the place. So when I keep the hot rod in the open atmosphere, whatever air in contact with the hot rod, they will get heated first, and as they get heated, the density of the air will get decreases, they will become lighter and they will start moving in upward direction, and the cold air will occupy the place. So this cycle will keep on doing unless that rod come into a room temperature. So this cooling of the rod is due to convection. Now the effectiveness of heat transfer by convection, it depends largely upon the mixing motion of the fluid. How you mix the motion, how you increase the motion of the molecules present in the fluid, either by natural way, that is due to the gravitational effect, or by force way, that is by making use of blower, fans, etc. Now, convection they had classified into a two broad way, but here we'll only have an introduction that free or natural convection occurs when the fluid circulates by virtue of the natural difference in the densities of hot and cold fluid. The denser portion of the fluid move downward because of the greater force of gravity as compared with the force on the lesser dense. That is, in a similar way, as I told you, and forced convection, when the work is done to flow, to blow or pump the fluid, it is said to be forced convection. So whenever you use any external appliances for cooling of any body, it comes under a forced convection. So you can take any example of forced convection. So if I take a bike, if I am at stationary with the bike, so cooling of the engine will take place by natural way, to natural convection. When I am running the bike, so whatever the air come in contact with the fins of the engine, so the cooling of the engine is taking place by forced convection. So and especially in case of car, the cooling of the engine is by, it is a water cooling, so it is a forced convection, as we have a fan also, cooling fan in engine. Now I just give a small introduction about the radiation. So radiation is the transfer of heat through a space or matter. It means it does not require any medium to transfer the energy other than conduction or convection. So whenever the heat is getting transferred from one body to other body other than conduction or convection, it means that by radiation heat is getting transferred. So radiation heat is thought of as an electromagnetic waves or quanta, an emanation, that is some source of the nature as light or radio waves. Now all bodies radiate heat, so a transfer of heat by radiation occurs because hot body emits more heat compared with the cold body, as the cold body receives more heat than it emits. Now, radiant energy requires no medium for propagation and will pass through vacuum. Now, last point, the properties of radiant heat in generals are similar to those of light. Some of the properties are: it does not require the presence of material, that is medium, for its transmission. Radiant heat can be reflected from the surfaces and obeys the ordinary law of reflection. Number three, it travels with velocity of light. So it means that in radiation, it has a property as that of light. So it obeys all the property of reflection. Okay. Now everybody is understood about that is a basic part of conduction, convection, radiation. So that when we go in detail with each of the module, we can go in detailing of each topic. Now, as I said, we're going to see your laws. So I'm talking about the conduction law, that is Fourier's law of heat conduction. Now, whenever you have to analyze any problem under a conduction, you have to understand this law, then only you can apply. Now, what this law states that the rate of flow of heat through a simple homogeneous solid is directly proportional to the area of section at right angle to the direction of heat flow and to change of temperature with respect to the length of the path of the heat flow. Now this definition is directly from R.K. Rajput. Now to understand the definition or statement of Fourier law, you can directly refer to the diagram of plane wall. Okay. Now you can refer to the mathematical expression of Fourier law, that is Q is directly proportional to A into dt by dx. Now what is the Q? Q is the rate of heat flow. A is the area of section at right angle, that we have to understand. It means that you can see the heat is flowing from left to right direction. Now the area of section at right angle to the direction of heat flow. If the heat is flowing from left to right direction, that is along the x-axis, you can take the area perpendicular to the direction of heat flow. So your area will be perpendicular to the heat flow direction. That is number one. Now dt indicate the temperature difference. So can you see the temperature difference as T1 and T2 here? So T1 is the temperature at one face of the wall and T2 is the temperature at the other face of the wall. And K indicate the thermal conductivity of the entire material. So later on we'll talk about thermal conductivity. Only we'll see the expression of Fourier law. So we'll come to know K is the thermal conductivity of material. Without K, we cannot go with the heat flow. Okay. Now T1 and T2 has to be, temperature difference has to be there. If T1 T2 is same, so there will be no heat is flowing through a plane wall. Due to the temperature difference, the heat is flowing through a plane wall. Now dx indicate the path length through which heat is flowing. Now as we know the heat is flowing in x direction, so the path length of heat flow is dx. Now we can get to the expression now. Q is directly proportional to A into dt by dx. Now if you get back to the statement, you will understand what statement says that you can directly refer to the expression Q is directly proportional to A into dt by dx. That only will going to put it into a words. Now what is Q? The rate of flow of heat through a simple homogeneous solid, okay, is directly proportional to the area of section at right angle to the direction of heat flow. It means during the conduction we have to consider the perpendicular area perpendicular area to the heat flow. So it means the rate of flow of heat through a simple homogeneous solid is directly proportional to the area of the section at right angle to the direction of heat flow, and to change of temperature and the change of temperature with respect to the length of the path through which heat is flow. Now I hope the statement has been clear. Now it will be easy. The statement has been clear. Now based on this statement, now you can refer the notations. Q is the heat flow through a body per unit time, which is measured in watt. So W indicate the watt, that is the unit of Q. Now what is the A? A is the surface area of heat flow, which has a unit of meter square. dt is the temperature difference of the faces of block, that is we consider the homogeneous solid, of thickness dx, through which heat flows, and it is measured in degree Celsius or Kelvin as the data given in the problem. Now dx is the thickness of body in the direction of flow. So always remember we have to consider the thickness through which the heat is flowing. We should not consider the any other thickness. Only we have to consider the heat flow thickness. Now, if we proceed the same equation in the next slide, you will come to know that this expression, if I remove the directly proportional sign, it will be equal to minus Ka into dt by dx, where K is the new symbol for you, which indicate the constant of proportionality and is known as thermal conductivity of the body or material. So this we had to consider the thermal conductivity. Now this thermal conductivity we had considered the minus sign. Now this minus sign is not for K. This minus sign is for dt. That is the change of temperature. Now what is here? What statement is written here? The minus sign of K is to take care of the decreasing temperature along with the direction of increasing thickness or the direction of heat flow. Okay. Now if we get back to the previous slide, if you refer to this, can you see the temperature T1 at phase 1 and temperature T2 at phase 2? So when the heat flows towards the decreasing temperature, so how we consider temperature difference? We consider temperature difference as T2 minus T1. So T2 is lower, T2 is higher. So your answer will be in minus. So to remove that minus sign and to have the value of Q to be positive, we put minus sign. So here we put minus sign. Is it understood? So that dt is the change of temperature, which is T2 minus T1. So T2 is smaller, T2 is bigger. So we'll get minus in temperature difference in minus. To remove that minus sign, we have put it minus, so that your value of Q, that is the heat flow, will come in positive. That is the number one. Number two, the minus sign of K is to take care of the decreasing temperature along with the direction of increasing thickness. So it means that the heat is flowing towards the decreasing temperature and also in the direction of increasing thickness. As the thickness is increasing and the temperature is decreasing, so we consider the minus sign for the temperature. Okay. Now the temperature gradient dt by dx is always negative along positive x direction, and therefore the value as q becomes positive. So as I said, the minus sign is for your temperature gradient. So temperature gradient during calculation always come negative, so we put minus sign in as the heat flowing in positive x direction. Therefore the value of Q becomes positive. Now this was the statement about Fourier law. Now when you can consider this Fourier law equation or expression, it is based on the following assumptions. Number one, the following are the assumptions on which Fourier law is based. Conduction of heat take place under a steady state condition. So I had written here dt by d tau is equal to 0. What do you mean by this? dt indicate the change of temperature and d tau indicate the change of time. So if I take d tau on the right side, it becomes 0 into d tau, it will be 0. So it means that change of temperature does not depend on time. So whenever we had to analyze any problem related to the conduction under a steady state condition, then we had to consider, whenever we had to apply the Fourier law, we had to consider the steady state condition. That is, change of temperature does not depend on time. So last time I had given you one example to remember the steady state condition and unsteady state condition? Can anyone tell me? Hello? Can anyone tell me about steady state condition and unsteady state condition? Please make yourself available. Hello? Please make yourself available. Hello? Chaudhary, are you there? Abhishek, Kev, hello? Please respond. People are there or they left? So why you take time in responding? So did you understand about Fourier law of heat conduction? Whose background noise? Okay. Other people are there? Kindly respond. Kindly respond. Otherwise, I feel that I am talking to myself as it is online. Okay. Okay. Have you understood about the Fourier law of heat conduction? How you can remember the Fourier law? Just by referring to the mathematical expression, you can write the statement of Fourier law of heat conduction. That is number one. And whatever the expression we got, what is the expression we got? Q is equal to minus Ka dt by dx. This expression has to be remembered whenever we solve the problem on conduction. Am I clear? So everybody should mug up this expression, because later on I will rewrite this expression in a simple form, that is Q is equal to del T upon RTH, which is L by K. Later on I will explain you how this expression got modified. Now this expression has to be remembered. Okay, now we'll proceed. Assumption has to be remembered, because unless you don't remember the assumptions, you will have a confusion whenever you apply the Fourier law expression. Now what is the first assumptions? Conduction of heat take place under a steady state condition. So anyone can tell me what is mean by steady state? Hmm? Great. Any example? Okay, once the temperature is maintained, it get cut off for some amount of time. Okay. Now I had given you one example, like when you boiling the water. So when you boil the water, initially the water temperature is at room temperature, maybe 30 degrees Celsius. So when you apply the heat from a burner, the temperature of the water start rising from 30 to 35, 40 degree, 50 degree, 60 degree. So this is called unsteady state condition. It means that the change of temperature of water, it depend on time. As the time rises, as the time increases, your temperature also get increases. So this is called as unsteady state condition. It means that change of temperature depend on time. Are you getting me? Now once the temperature of the water, it reaches to the 100 degrees Celsius, it means that it is the boiling point of the water. So even if I apply the heat to the water, now there will be no change of temperature of the water. That is called a equilibrium condition, and which means under a steady state condition. It means the temperature of the water is steady state. Now there will be no change of temperature of water even if you supply the heat for 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. The temperature has reached to the maximum, that is the steady state condition. Am I clear? Now similarly, if there is any body and I want to apply the Fourier law of heat conduction to calculate the heat flow through that body. Okay, so I have to wait till that body reaches the steady state condition. For example, if there is a body and it is getting heated, so if I'm applying the heat to the body, initially body is at room temperature. When the moment I supply the heat to the body, the temperature of the body start rising. 30 से 35 हो जाएगा, 40, 45, 50. Now at what condition should I apply the Fourier law? I have to reach the steady state condition. Now then only I can take the temperature difference of that body. Otherwise, every time the temperature of the body starting increases. So I will not get the proper amount of heat flow from a body to the atmosphere or vice versa. Are you getting me? So when you do any experiment or whenever you have any condition where you have to apply the Fourier law of heat conduction, then you have to wait till your body reaches to the equilibrium condition. That is called steady state heat conduction. Is that clear, everyone? So in short, we can say that dt by d tau is equal to 0. So if I take d tau on the right side, it will be 0 and the change of temperature does not depend on time. So once the equilibrium condition get reached, even if you heat that body for more than 1 hour, 2 hour, the temperature does not get changed. So in this that way we can say change of temperature does not depend on time. Am I clear? Now the second part assumption, the heat flow is unidirectional. What do you mean by unidirectional? Single directional flow. But does the heat flows in one direction? Of course not. Heat flows in multi-direction. Can you see this image? Here I consider the block X direction, Y direction, Z direction. Can you see this? Okay. Okay. Can you see this? X direction, Y direction, Z direction. It means that when I supply the heat to my plane wall, the heat will flow in three direction it is shown, X, Y and Z. But what Fourier law says? Fourier law says that if you want to apply Fourier law expression, you have to consider the positive X direction of heat flow. So can you see the X direction, positive X direction? So that is the unidirection assumption Fourier law has considered. Please off your mic. If you are not speaking, please put your mic off. Okay. Whenever you want to interrupt in between, you can interrupt or you can clear your doubt. Okay. Now I know it is 11:30, but we had already wasted too much of time. So we'll continue with this and we'll end up with 11:45. Is it okay? Hello, is it okay? Okay, only 15 or 20 minutes is left. Let me get covered with the topic. Okay. Now, is the second part is understood heat flow in unidirection. It means for Fourier law expression to apply, we have to consider one direction heat flow. Now, number three is the temperature gradient is constant and the temperature profile is linear. What do you mean by temperature gradient is constant? It means that the temperature drop is linear. So can you see, can you get back to that diagram again? Can you get back to the diagram, plane wall diagram? Can you see the temperature T1 and T2? Now this T1 and T2, it is decreasing linearly. So there is no up and down temperature drop. Temperature increase नहीं हो रहा है, decrease नहीं हो रहा है, वो linearly decrease हो रहा है. Are you getting me? There is no curve is formed. Upper curve और bottom curve form नहीं हो रहा है, वो linear temperature drop हो रहा है. So that is the assumption made by the Fourier law. So that is the temperature gradient is constant and the temperature profile is linear. Number 4, there is no internal heat generation. It means that whenever the heat is flowing through any of the body, if you want to apply the Fourier law, we are not considering any internal heat generation. Though the heat generation will take place, but we are not considering. For example, you can take the example of a wire. We all know the electricity flows through a wire. When there is a pulse difference, the heat is been generated in a wire and the wire catches fire. It means there is some amount of heat is generated inside the wire. So that is the heat generation when the heat is flowing. So that internal heat generation we does not taking consideration in Fourier law. Number fifth is the bounding surfaces are isothermal in character. What do you mean by this? It means that the body surfaces are isothermal. It means during the heat flow from one phase to the other phase of the body, there is no loss of heat from the surfaces of the body. Are you getting me? The bonding surfaces are isothermal. Now, sixth point is the material is homogeneous, which is very important. What do you mean by material is homogeneous and isotropic? That is, the value of thermal conductivity is constant. Okay, I think okay. I feel Zoom has a time limit, and we had not followed the time of Zoom app, so it is got by default close. So खुद ही close हो गया. Taking time 25. So everybody is in. Okay, everybody is in. Okay. Everybody is in.